Welcome to episode 38 of Talk Wrestling here on No DQ and MySpace and YouTube. Thank you everybody again for watching last week and putting up with the commercial interruptions, or interruption I should say, only one. I don't sell time to just anybody on this show. Of course, I didn't sell the time in the first place. That was Aaron's idea, but that's neither here nor there. Don't forget to vote. I am so for people voting in this election because people didn't vote last time and Bush stayed in office for 4 more years. Evil. This is an evil people. And I sound really good coming from a political angle where I'm going, but there's evil people running this country right now, and it needs to stop. BarackObama.com. MySpace.com/Barack Obama. He's on my top friends. Look him up. Steven wants to know what makes a world title a world title. Well, if you go by Pro Wrestling Illustrated's definition, world titles have to have defenses around the world. They have to have significant TV time applied to them, like the TNA Championship, the WWE Championships. And although the ECW title is not considered the world title by PWI, so go figure that. And they should have legitimate name recognition around the world, in my opinion, which is why Ring of Honor should be a world title. The NWA title should be a world title. And the NWA title is the most prestigious championship not on TV right now in the wrestling world. And the fact that it's not considered the world title by PWI is bogus, in my opinion. It is the oldest championship in existence in wrestling right now. It's been around since 1948, which is 60 years this year. The NWA Championship has been around back when Orville Brown was named the first champion. You got guys like Lou Thez holding that, Dusty Rhodes, Harley Race, Gene Kiniski, Terry Funk, Dory Funk Jr., Gene Kiniski, I believe I mentioned, Buddy Rogers, Ric Flair. All those guys should be considered world champions, and they were considered world champions at the time. But I feel that it should still be considered, like Adam Pearce should be considered the world champion right now, because he is. By the way, congratulations to Adam Pearce for regaining the WWE World Championship a couple weeks back. I forgot to mention that in the last couple shows, but he is the world champion once again. So congratulations to him. I think a world championship should be defined by its defenses around the world and its name recognition. NWA, Ring of Honor, WWE, TNA, all those championships should be world championships. This is from Raymond. He wants to know my opinion on Jeff Jarrett's career in WWE, WCW, and of course TNA. I like Jeff Jarrett. I didn't for the longest time when he was running roughshod over TNA. I kind of had a problem with him being like the Triple H of TNA, so to speak. As far as he had all the face time, he had all the time on TV. He got all the titles. He was constantly world champion. But Jarrett has surprised me since his return full-time to TNA. He has pleasantly surprised me, and I liked him when he was in WCW as the Chosen One, not when he was a wannabe horseman. I liked him as the Chosen One, and I liked him in WWE when he was the badass, not the country singer, when he was, in like mid to late 98, going into 99 before he left to go back to WCW. He was good then. There's some points of his career, like the country singer gimmick, you kind of want to forget. Although Mike and I did sing that on the XMV episode. Aaron, if you can find that, pull it up, that'd be great. But, we'll see what happens. That was on one of the early episodes of XMV, the Boyne episode, as a matter of fact. So if those of you remember the Boyne episode back in the day, there you go. Rowan wants to know my opinion on the usage of Colt Cabana, and he thinks it's bogus that they're using him in the white. I agree. Colt Cabana is worthy of so much more than this goofy Scotty Goldman gimmick that they've assigned to him. It's ridiculous that he is being portrayed as this complete goof, and he is a goof. Colt Cabana is a goof, but it has to be presented in the right way, and they're not presenting him in the right way. That's just my humble opinion. I think that he could be presented in a much better light, and they could use his talent so much better, and it's just a shame that he's being used in such a poor way. Pedro wants to know my favorite wrestling DVD. Oh, wow. I've got a lot of wrestling DVDs, mostly WWE. My favorite one that I was on is 101 Reasons Not to Be a Pro Wrestler, starring many of the old WCW stars. Mike and I were featured very prominently on that. The same clip twice, but that's okay. Mike broke his chair at PWG and we got featured. It's good times. But the favorite one I haven't been on, probably WrestleMania 21. Jesus, these bugs are bugging. Holy crap. WrestleMania 21, strictly because WrestleMania 21 was a decent pay-per-view, and the Hall of Fame DVD was on there where Hogan got inducted, so that was cool. Hogan and Piper and Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov, Jimmy Hart, Cowboy Bob Orton. Jimmy wants to know if I think WWE should release a Scott Hall Razor Ramon DVD. If they get on good terms with Scott Hall / Razor Ramon again, absolutely. Scott Hall, Razor Ramon was one of the great gimmicks, one of the great wrestlers of his day. He's the one that started it all for the NWO back in 1996. Can you believe that was 12 years ago, people? God, how old am I? You know, a lot of you people watching don't know about the NWO. You should go look it up. And I'm not talking about the Nagel World Order, but they should release a Scott Hall DVD, and definitely showcase Razor Ramon in his time in the AWA and his time in WCW as well. Okay. Speaking of the Nagel World Order, once again, against my better judgment, following announcement has been paid for by the Nagel World Order.
The following announcement has been paid for by the Nagel World Order.
Do you like wrestling DVDs? Because at J-Cell For You on eBay, we have the best selection of wrestling DVDs going today. You want to see No Way Out where Eddie Guerrero wins the world title? We got it. D-Generation X, old and new. We've got the Hardy Boys Twist of Fate, the Four Horsemen, Mr. McMahon. We got it all. myworld.ebay.com/JCellForYou.
The preceding announcement has been paid for by the Nagel World Order.
We are back from commercial. Once again, what? What? You never do this. I'm in the... No.
You gotta read it.
No. This is not what I signed up for, this part at the bottom here.
Just please read it.
Ugh. Make sure you check out myworld.ebay.com/JCellForYou. J and then U, the only letters. We have the hottest deals on vintage and rare wrestling merchandise you'll find anywhere. So check us out today. myworld.ebay.com/JCellForYou. P.S. Jeff Meacham likes to play with little kids, if you will. Do we need this? That's for Mike. You son of a bitch. I just littered in a public park because of you. You son of a bitch. Jesus. Stuart wants to know if I could match any tag team from the heyday of tag teams in the 80s to the other heyday of tag teams in the years 2000 and beyond, who would I choose and why? Well, I would have liked to have seen the Road Warriors versus the Dudleys when both teams were in their prime, not when TNA tried to present it, when it was ended up being Road Warrior Animal and Rick Steiner against the Dudleys, or Team 3D, whatever you want to call them. I'd like to see the Road Warriors from like 84, 85 against the Dudleys from like 98, 99, or 97 even. That's just what I would like to see that personally. This is from Paris. He wants to know, when will Vince McMahon turn the company over to Shane McMahon? That's if he does turn it over to Shane McMahon. I'm thinking at this point he's going to turn it over to Stephanie. Stephanie's the executive vice president of creative writing. She's the one that writes all the storylines with Vince. She's the one that writes all the TVs and does all the promos and everything, or helps do the promos and everything. Stephanie would be the one to be in charge after Vince finally hands the company over. But what it should be is both of them sharing equal responsibility. Shane and Stephanie both. Shane doing the stuff he does now, Stephanie doing the stuff she does now, and Vince kind of taking a step back and overseeing when he has to. Vince will never completely step away until he's long gone. It just won't happen, so we should all just get used to that. Chris wants to know if it was true that Booker T and Batista got in a backstage brawl a couple years ago during the SummerSlam commercial. Yes, it is true. They had a really big fight. It was a big thing on the internet back a couple years ago. I think it was during the SummerSlam 2000 2006 or 2005 commercial. I don't remember which year it was. But, there's a bug. Bugging again. Ah. These bugs, I'm telling you, dude. Anyway, yes, they had a legitimate fight. Batista, I think Booker had a black eye or a broken nose or something, and Batista ended up having a black eye himself. It was very ugly. They've since talked about it and worked it out, and they've kissed and made up before Booker left WWE to go to TNA. But very interesting that would happen in this day and age, that there's backstage brawling and backstage fights and whatnot. Yeah. This is from Chris. Should ECW have a second-tier championship, like bringing back the European or Hardcore Championship, or bringing the Cruiserweight Championship back and putting it on ECW? No, I don't think that's necessary. ECW is fine for being a one-hour show and having one championship. I mean, look at TNA. They have 4 championships crammed into 1 hour, and it's overkill. I think ECW is doing just fine with one championship, and I think anything more will, again, be overkill, much like TNA has overkill right now. And ECW is fine with just having the ECW championship. No more championships for ECW. AJ Stanley, I think. How will Gail Kim's release affect the knockout division? Well, so far it really hasn't impacted it too much, I don't think. The knockouts are still being showcased the same way that they were with Gail Kim being there. Even more so now that Tracy Brooks is the knockout law, the knockout commissioner, if you will. They're being showcased in a whole different light. They're getting more attention thanks to people like Tracy and ODB and Velvet and Angelina and Awesome Kong and Taylor Wilde and Roxy. And, you know, they have a lot of newcomers coming in to get squashed by Kong, but at least they're getting FaceTime. And I don't think Gail Kim's release from TNA will have a long-term impact on the knockouts. Short-term, maybe it has been because, you know, Gail Kim was the knockouts division for a good couple years, and now she's gone. We'll have to see how it plays out. Really quick, I'm going to go over a couple matches for Bound for Glory, because I only know about a couple matches off the top of my head, because I'm not really watching TNA a whole lot right now. I know about Jarrett and Angle with Mick Foley as the guest enforcer. I'm going to pick Jeff Jarrett to go over in that one because of Mick Foley's involvement somehow, which will lead to Mick Foley and Kurt Angle having a contest. And I think that Joe will end Sting's Bound for Glory winning streak at 2. He won in 2006 against Jarrett. He won in 2007 against Angle. I don't think he'll win in 2008 against Joe. Joe needs to continue to be the dominant world champion that he is. I think that Joe beating Sting will solidify his status as one of the all-time greats. Even though Sting is not an all-time great anymore, he's over the hill. He's past his prime. I've said that before. He's overrated and overpaid. I think him getting a main event slot in a pay-per-view is ridiculous. But that's just my opinion. It should be yours, but it's just mine. Again, don't forget to go out and vote November 4th for Barack Obama and Joe Biden. And we'll see you next time for episode 39 of Talk Wrestling.